Friday. And today we are discussing, majorly what happened during the week in the news, and we will be starting from the big one, which happened last weekend. That's a visit of the President to Ogun State, and we'll be looking at the aftermath this morning. We will look at the crisis in ADC, that the political party petrol price, it continues to fluctuate. We will look at that, and we will definitely look at security this morning. But before we talk about that visit of the President, we have a short clip for you to see, so you will understand what really went down in Iperu on Saturday. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
I dedicate the airport and commission it for the operation the Gateway Airport State. God bless you.
The inauguration of Gateway International Airport and Gateway Air, with features of 4,000 meters runway, modern terminals, and advanced aviation facilities, making it one of the best in West Africa. President Bola Tinubu says the airport and the launch of Gateway Air is another significant milestone in Ogun State's economic development, positioning it as a hub for commerce, investment, and global connectivity.
We celebrate you for national development. And we regret that whatever formula and whatever we as your president, I'm pleased to see the increased revenue from railway aviation is being effectively and judiciously used to build our country. I congratulate the people of this great state for supporting the government and its delivering progress, and I thank you for your continued faith in our party.
While expressing his delight at the commissioning of what he calls the economic nerve center of the corridor, President Tinubu commends Governor Dapo Abiodun for demonstrating in less than 7 years commitment, vision, and patriotism to grow Nigeria.
We expect the commission the project. This airport is separately connected to independent through our investment in gas and energy. The other project that has been partially commissioned is the reward of great commitment. Thank you very much.
Former President of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, equally commends the Ogun State Governor for what he calls visionary approach and alignment with national development. Earlier in his address, Governor Dapo Abiodun described the day as a defining moment in the history of Ogun State, noting that the successful delivery of the project underscores his administration's commitment to sustainable development and economic prosperity.
I find congratulations that without the support you are giving from national, some of us have become insolvent, and we are all indeed very grateful. When I think of it 7 years ago, through the focal lens of the building and future together agenda of administration, we observe that also today, to take full advantage of our proximity to Lagos, which is the financial capital of Nigeria, we must decisively close the infrastructure gap, and through them and purposeful leadership, we embark on an extensive cluster development.
He promised that his administration will continue to develop the state within the period left for his tenure with projects and policies that will transform the gateway state for further greatness.
All right, welcome back. You saw that report, and beyond the inauguration of the airport and also the aircraft, the president also commissioned the airport estate, airport roads, that's the Iperu road, e-bikes and custom training center, which is what like 73 billion naira of as a residential barrack, training college, warehouse, and hospital, and also launch mobility, security, and agricultural assets. We talk about the e-bike. That's the beauty of Ogun, the pride of Ogun at this moment. And a few hours later, the CEO of Alex Oyema, that's AirPeace, CEO of AirPeace, and also came out to say that AirPeace will now launch the UK Nigerian trip aircraft in Ogun State. Now, this is what a lot of people have been talking about, expressing one optimism, and some are not so optimistic. But Dara, will you say this is what we have been, this is what we have been envisaging, or we have been clamoring or hoping that it will happen, looking at the comment and the promise of the AirPeace CEO?
Thank you, Taiwo, and good morning, viewers, for joining us on this program. I know you skipped that area.
Yeah, I think
and will be that as it may, I want to say, this is a landmark event, particularly the commissioning of the Gateway International Airport. It's great kudos to the present administration in Ogun State. When you look at the fact that this state is going, is already 50 years old and no airport that people have been looking for. No wonder our former president and military head of state, who incidentally had a hand in the creation of Ogun State, was so excited that in his lifetime he could witness this in the state. For Governor Dapo Abiodun, this is also a presidential affirmation of whatever he has been doing. I want to take it all from the issue of the fact that people are taught the present president did not have anything per se concerning whatever the governor, our governor, was doing in Ogun State, because since he assumed office, he has not at this official level come to Ogun State to perform this kind of commissionings that we witness. And so when you look at it, it's a presidential statement that the federal government is in support of this landmark achievement. And of course, the fact that yes, if you are trading, if you are trading or you are having commerce to do with Nigeria, this airport is one of those you could consider, bearing in mind that we are told that it has a very big warehouse that can be used to export products. And of course, immediately the commissioning was done, at least we saw an aircraft lifting some products out of the country. And of course, the joy of it is the fact that we are gradually utilizing the nearness of Ogun to Lagos, which is the commercial hub of Nigeria. And then secondly, we are really standing the point that indeed we are gateway to Nigeria. When you look at what the ripple effect, beneficially to Ogun State, a number of those who are Itado have been using the Murtala Mohammed Airport, who have been, one way or the other, have been bogged down by traffic gridlocks, they will find it easier to come here to take their international flights to UK or whatever. Thank God for AirPeace for coming, their chief executive for coming to Ogun State and saying he will be glad to be a partaker in what is going on here. And of course, it's a good business for ValueJet, who have been helping the state to ensure that maximum use is being made of this airport. Secondly, when you look at the number of personalities in the business sector that attended that event, you give it to the Ogun State government, because these are people who are likely to see with their eyes, because seeing, they say, is believing. It's not a story that they will be told later, that go there, latest equipment, everything there, and then we are told that it can even take the runway can take bigger jets, given the fact of the distance of the jet. And then to that axis, that is opening up the area, making it ready for business, making it ready for industrial development. The burden that we now have is, number one, how do we sustain what is on ground, the infrastructure? Number two, and which is very key, how do we ensure security in that place? How do we enforce law, the law, taking care of people of unscrupulous character, not using that place as a route to do the unbusiness-like venture, like using it as a route to carry all these drugs. You know, that calls for vigilance on the part of the customs there. Thank God the customs are already well entrenched in there, and it is plus too. And so it also calls on the community or communities surrounding it, that I emphasized on this table last week, that they must be hospitable with the people. It's not a time to want to exploit the situation to cause disadvantage for business investors or those who have come to earn their living there by hiking prices of rent or making quick ventures on their landed property. It's a time to welcome people, to enlarge the scope, and we must begin to see that this is another opportunity for us to know that aviation business is now getting well rooted in Nigeria. At least we could speak of Akwa Ibom, Enugu, and then Ogun State has joined the Association of States now engaging in aviation business. I wish the state very well, and I pray that whatever potentials that this ought to give to Ogun State in terms of revenue earning will be well exploited. It will not be an avenue that will be used to take care of as an FOC or free business for those in government, like we find at the other time Nigerian Airways, which at a particular point in time was giving airways to Ethiopia, you know, at a time when Nigerian Airways was Nigerian Airways, but because of mismanagement, it was run at a loss. Well, so all this should be a guide. I mean, all this should be something that will guide the running of that place.
Well, Matthew, Minister of Aviation, that's Festus Keyamo, was on ground. This is a big statement when you have the aviation minister, also part of the team, you know, with the president to inaugurate the project. And the president said something that the federal allocation is judicially utilized, looking at this project. Now, you know, looking at all this, looking at those dignitaries, looking at some of the comments of the president, and the fact that Ogun is now, you know, when you talk about IGR, we are, doing well, and this shows that the IGR will continue to increase.
Even the Senate President himself said it in his speech that day. When you look at the caliber of personalities that graced that commissioning, I'm not sure in the recent history of the state if we have recorded that huge number of personalities attending an occasion. Both the executive and the legislative arm of the government, of the federal government, actually shifted base and were in Ogun State. The whole thing was they turned Ogun State to the Halo Chamber and the federal cabinet executive cabinet meeting. Because the number of federal ministers in attendance, the number of senators led by the Senate President that were in attendance will show you that this event is not just like any other event. It is indeed an event of a national and international magnitude, because it's not even only the top government functionaries in Nigeria that were in attendance. Even foreign delegates, members of the diplomatic corps were also represented at the event. The chairman of Boa Group, the chairman of Dangote Group, Otedola, all of them were in attendance. That shows you that what we had on Saturday was not just a commissioning of another project. It was more or less like a beginning or the birth of a new era in terms of the efforts of the current administration to turn Ogun State to an industrial hub of the entire West Africa, not just Nigeria. Because when you look at what has been built in Iperu, you know that what we have there is not just an airport. It's not just an ordinary project. It's more or less like we are creating a kind of because according to even the government itself, what they are trying to do is they want to create an aeropolis, that is an airport city, whereby you have name it, talk of anything you are into in terms of agro and industrial activities. You have a place to plug in this project. As a farmer in Peru, as a farmer in Elishon, as a farmer in Iperu, you can actually harvest your tomato in the morning and sell it at the London market in the evening. Because all you need to do is just bring your tomato to the airport, get it loaded in the aircraft. Like before you know it, your product is already being sold at the international market. This will bring in not just forest earnings. It will create opportunities for local farmers to expand their business. My own thinking is, maybe what I'm actually still looking at is how are we going to do it to measure up and to make sure we meet up with the demands that will be created by this international airport. That's not just moving passengers, that's not just going to be into passenger travel. It's also going to be involved in cargo shipment. So what we had on Saturday is more or less like a new era for Ogun State. The history of the state is being rewritten. Ogun State has taken a quantum leap from what it used to be, from being just a place where there are a lot of industries that are doing a lot of things, that are engaged in various industrial activities, into a place where we have an ecosystem of industrial concerns, such that what you are doing in Iperu is more or less that you are creating a city where businesses and industrial activities thrive. And the state is actually proud of, because when you look at the caliber of the people that are present, the personalities from Ogun State, all former governors of the state were in attendance.
Well,
the former president of Nigeria, who happens to be from the state, was also in attendance. So what I'm trying to say, we have the current administration has, taken the state to another level.
Right.
What we need to do now is to find a way of sustaining where we have found ourselves, and make sure that we leverage on the opportunities that will be created by this project to take the state to the Eldorado that we are all waiting for.
All right, let's go to the next one because of our time. ADC, that's African Democratic Congress, faces mounting internal crisis amid growing challenges. And the week started with protest and the call by that INEC decided to obey court order maintaining status quo on the matter that involves the chairman and the secretary of the party. We may say it's a factional chairman and secretary, and that was how the week started for ADC. So they are articulating, protested, and a day after, another group, faction, that is the one loyal to the 2023 presidential candidate from the party, Dume B. Kachuku, named Kingsley Temitope as the interim national chairman, and endorsed INEC decision to withdraw recognition from the rival party leaders, escalating leadership crisis that now threatens the party's survival ahead of the 2027 election. About 10 months to the election, we now have 3 factions in ADC. We thought what they had is just the issue of the recognition by INEC. We knew that some members are agitated, but now talking about having 3 factions and not being able to reconcile this party, this crisis, 10 months to the election. Now, do you still see this, escalating further, or do you think all parties will come to round table very soon, considering the legal tussle that is still also on among these factions?
The escalation of the crisis within the ADC will depend on the maturity of how the players are playing the game of politics. In natural sense, in natural fact, nobody had expected that everything will just go like this, because it looks as if for some time now that the party was becoming the toast of everyone. The party was becoming every gladiator's platform, to launch opposition even against the ruling party. However, I said it depends on the maturity, the art, the intrigues, the needs, how they address what is needful to be done. Because when you look at it, formation of a party has a process. More so when you are joining a party that you are not a member at the beginning, it makes it even more difficult that you must understand what it takes, because you want to use it as a vehicle to advance your cause, to advance your interest, to achieve your purpose. And so, in the course of doing this, you know that you are contesting against an opponent, and an opponent will not be watching you to ensure that you achieve your aim. And that is why politicians must learn the tricks of this trade, must be very well acquainted of what it takes for them to move from point A to point B, so that they will not be castrated or be frustrated at a particular point in time. I think more than ever before, the party had exposed itself to what I can call unexpected, when suddenly we heard that some people are now members of the party. Did they consider some of the pitfalls or the eggs or booby traps that are on ground that they could easily fall into ground? Because this will not be the first time that parties we have joined us who are not foundation members joining them, and we don't have all these hues and cries as we are having concerning ADC today. And again, who are their legal advisors? Because for me, the umpire has said what it wanted to. The time is not in their favor, and those are the things that they should be giving consideration to. How do they address it? I think because of the shortness of the time, they are looking for a shortcut to resolve the problem. To what extent that shortcut will resolve the problem is what I don't know, because legal process cannot be overlooked when it comes to politicking. Even though some people some members of the party have been arguing that the issue of internal politics, internal crisis of a party should not be the purview of the court. But how do you attend to the issue of an individual whose rights have been trampled upon? Well, and these are the things that are causing the major problems they are having. Individuals who are not contented with the situation of how they were shortchanged, if truly they were shortchanged, within the gathering of the gladiators to take over the party and make it a party that will stand as a major platform for opposition come 2027.
Well, a lot of, there has been a debate on the right word, whether it is takeover or hijack. Now, some are saying that the party was hijacked by the Mark-elect team, and we just like I said, we now have 3 camps in that. And yes, the internal strife has led to the suspension of the state congresses originally scheduled for this April. Simultaneously, 36 state chairmen are taking the National Working Committee to court, arguing that the creation of interim committees to manage primaries is unconstitutional. And also, ADC leaders, including those aligned with Atiku Abubakar, have accused unnamed external forces and the ruling All Progressive Congress of fueling the crisis to undermine the emerging opposition coalition. APC has actually equally dismissed this claim, urging the ADC to address its own internal contradictions. Martin, looking at this, there's been allegations, there's been responses, and from your own end, what do you think is the problem of this party? We've mentioned some, and we've talked about a lot concerning the party, but at this particular period, like 10 months to the election, don't you think it is time for everybody to now sit at a round table and tell each other that because we have a common ideology or common goal, let us work together as a strong opposition to possibly defeat the incumbent party?
Well, why trying to hurriedly put together a particular system or a particular structure, or maybe let me use a vehicle? It's like you are going on a journey and you want to, instead of going ahead to get your own vehicle that you think or that you have confidence in, that will take you to your destination, you've now decided to probably go hijack, should I say hijack, or take over a particular vehicle in which you don't know the condition that vehicle is in at that particular or material moment. but you decided to take over the vehicle and you got inside the vehicle without getting the buy-in of everyone that owns the vehicle. Does not belong to just one particular person. It belongs to a group of people. But rather than working with the people, rather than going into a dialogue with them, trying to concede some things to them. In politics, it's about give and take. It's about horse trading. You sit down with people you want to go into a particular thing with. You consider some things. You get some things. There's a way you dialogue. You get the buy-ins of people that are supposed to travel with you, that are supposed to engage or to go along with you. If you are not able to get their buy-ins, you are not able to get their to concede some things to them, at the end of the day, they will be the one that will rock your boat.
But do you even see a common goal or ideology playing now? Because it seems that what we're having is just an individual.
The challenge we have, the challenge with ADC as of this moment is not even about ideology. It's not a problem of ideology. The Gambo that is laying claim to the ownership of or the chairmanship of the party is not saying it because he believes in a particular ideology that he thinks maybe the demand-led ESCO are not ready to pursue. It's about interest. It's about interest.
Or maybe personal.
Well, call it anything. Maybe personal or group interest. It's about pursuing interest. It's about thinking ahead that, okay, at the end of the day, will I not be shortchanged, as he has said? Will I not be given the short end of the stick? It's not about whether I have a particular ideology that I think I want to sell. It's about, okay, how will my interest be best served? Now, the mistake they made in trying to put up this arrangement, in trying to put up the coalition movement, they failed in doing their homework properly. And the homework was, people that you want to take over a particular party, you want to use that platform to achieve your aim. The people that are holding that particular platform in trust before you came, have you been able to get their buy-in? Have you been able to placate them, to let them see reasons why they must work together with you, why they must collaborate with you, and have you been able to assure them that at the end of the day, their interests will be well protected? You have put together this arrangement. Why must it be that you are coming in as external factors or external groups? Why should it be that you come inside the party and take over both the chairmanship and the secretaryship of the party? There's a way you do things. You dialogue with them. It's either you consider some positions to them, or you let them see reasons why they must stand in the background while you do the job. And at the end of the day, by the time the job is done, there is that you assure them of certain things that will be considered or that will be considered to them. Well, now what they have done is, in trying to hurriedly put up this arrangement, this coalition movement, they have left some loopholes. That loophole is now haunting them. It's haunting them. Maybe I don't want to say the loopholes are being exploited by some people, but even if they are not being exploited rather, the fellow that is causing these issues, I'm sure he has some things behind his mind that he wants to achieve with it.
Well, sorry, before you leave, I just want to add two things. Number one, I want all the parties involved in ADC to calm down, come together, surrender their pride, their arrogance, and begin again. Number two, I want to make an appeal, if it is possible for the judiciary, to save us some misinterpretation of judgments that people who have become armchair analysts of judgment, they are not lawyers, they are TV analysts, sometimes they are TV based legal analysts, with the issue of the use of Latin words in their judgment. You know, I remember in those days, over 50 years ago, I was not opportune to learn Latin when we go to school. It was French that was introduced there. And I don't know how many universities that are even taking Latin as part of the European languages that they study now. All this issue of Tato and Bellon, Sante Anthem, you know, we should save our people, because Nigerians today, they don't want to, everybody wants to become an analyst of what they don't know. Everybody is an interpreter of whatever is going on, whether they are knowledgeable about it or not. So I think the judiciary should begin to look at it. Let them make the judgment straightforward, so that it will not be subject to any form of controversy.
Yeah, I think maybe that will be. I don't know how soon, because when you look at misinterpretation of court judgment here and there, you will know that it's not really helping, and it's really causing a lot of havoc when it comes to what people know and what people want to know and what they are carrying around. Let's go to the next one, a big one, and we've been having that for a couple of weeks and if not a month and a few weeks now. Petrol price may hit 2,000 per litre. TUC raises alarm, and TUC this morning or yesterday called on the federal government to deploy excess crude oil revenue to subsidize local refinery as a way of cushioning the impact of the rising fuel prices in Nigeria. Now, TUC is calling for subsidy to return, maybe on a short, on a short term, on short-term basis, at this particular period, because it's really eating hard. Do you also subscribe to this, notion that at this period, with the level of at which this price of fuel is fluctuating, should federal government, do something like this?
I know it is biting harder by the day because of the fragility of the so-called ceasefire peace agreement between U.S., Israeli on one part and Iran on the other part. I don't know. For me, the issue of, it's not as if I'm feeling it is biting harder much on me, because every other thing in this country is affected, unlike other countries where there are laws that you cannot just increase your products anyhow. In this country, once anything affects petrol, every other thing is affected in terms of pricing. I will not subscribe to subsidy being used. There is a way we can do it, because you see, because of the opaqueness, the insincerity, the dishonesty that plays in the air when it comes to the issue of financial prudence. You will see that some people will even mess it up for the government. What I can say, you will see that a good number of people, even though what we have, we don't appreciate it, a good number of people from other countries have been coming to Nigeria because of, thank God for the Dangote refinery that we have. Maybe they should look at how they want to support this refinery with more crude oil for refining. I heard that they have increased the number they released to the refinery by about 10 cargoes or so. But at this hour, we have this crude. We have somebody who could refine. Maybe that they should look up, because it should be accountable. For the issue of subsidy, people will say they have imported this, but where are they going to use to import it? But like Petrol have said, that's another association within the oil and gas sector. They have suggested that maybe government should look at a way to make our refineries in Port Harcourt and Warri to be operational to a little extent, to reduce the burden on Dangote and to help our people. Maybe they should look at it, and maybe we should be appealing to the God of heaven to penetrate all the gladiators in this matter, to come to bring to a halt all this issue of war between in the Middle East. Because come to think of it, even if subsidy is allowed, what of the movement of a ship around the Strait of Hormuz that Iran is claiming ownership of? And we are even hearing that they are generating a new path for ships to pass through. In natural fact, they are saying, well, one cannot be too sure whether some areas have not been mined by the refinery guards of Iran. Well, so these are something that are affecting the pricing of the commodity as at now. But be that as it may, as a government, I believe the government should do something to ameliorate the condition of its people. It's a product that we have. It's just that the problem of the past, the problem of leakages of the past, unconcerned attitude of people who are just concerned about their own pocket. That is what we are paying for now. Because leave it or take it. As the war is raging, we should not be facing this kind of situation if our local refineries are working.
Well, even the World Bank is recommending and suggesting to the federal government that reinstating petrol import licenses to dismantle a supply monopoly, aiming to lower fuel costs that currently are sit at 12% above global benchmark. So they are saying that urging federal government to restore petrol competition as Dangote dominates. Do you think this, Matthew, this will possibly reduce, the current price, or is the monopoly itself even affecting the market price? So to say, just to look at it from now, the recommendation of World Bank, do you see it having any effect if the federal government now, decide to take this recommendation and act on it?
Well, I'm not sure the challenge we have for now is the challenge of the money or the market being monopolized by people that, or by maybe Dangote, because for now Dangote is the major refineries or refiner that we have in Nigeria as of today. I'm not sure it's the challenge of
I think it's a challenge of the OIC.
Well, we all know the amount a barrel of crude oil is being sold at the international market. Now, if Dangote is operating by the price at the international market, you don't expect Dangote to do anything that will go below what he buys, or that will go below what the price is at the international market. If he's buying petrol from Nigeria at the amount that the petrol is being sold at the international market, you don't now expect him to sell at anything below what is operating at the international market. But one thing comes to mind. It's more or less like a young farmer who has a farm that is producing yam, and is selling that yam to a miller who is buying that yam at the same amount that the yam is being sold at the open market. Now, if the miller produces the yam at the end of the day and produces a yam flour, and the child of the farmer wants to buy the yam flour, you don't expect the miller to sell it to the child of the yam farmer at a cheaper rate. He will sell it at the same amount that it is being sold at the open market. Now, what happens to a situation whereby, why can't we adopt a situation whereby you go into a kind of a partnership with Dangote? Okay, we'll be selling this crude oil, the ones that we produce for the local market, we sell it to you at this particular amount. Now, it will now be agreed that after producing and turning the crude oil into petrol or diesel, this is the amount that it must be sold at the local market. Will that not, to an extent, solve the problem? In that way, you have not given money to anybody. It will raise the inflation of whereby some people will collect money and they want to ship in so at the end of the day they don't ship in anything, or they take it to the next door, neighbor, the next neighbor, that is the next neighboring country, and sell it at the same amount that they are bought it after collecting subsidy on the money. What TUC is saying is the federal government should have a kind of arrangement whereby, luckily enough, we have Dangote to an extent who can to an extent meet our local demand. Go into partnership with Dangote, sell it, have a kind of arrangement with Dangote. This is the amount that will be giving you as for this crude oil, this number of shipments as crude oil. Then after producing it, this is the amount that you must sell it in such a way that your own gain would have been factored in. At the end of the day, Nigerians should be able to buy it at a not very cheap, but at least a relatively cheaper rate, in such a way that at least you will be able to salvage our economy from this imminent collapse, because inflation is biting of the economy, and there's an urgent need for something to be done about it. All right,
something to be done, and apparently we have excess crude oil revenue at this moment, and a lot of recommendation is coming on how to. I'm sure the federal government and the president is definitely doing something. Let's go to the last story headline of the day. This is on a sad notice. Terrorists killed Nigerian Brigadier General, and alongside 17 soldiers. They paid the supreme price in a coordinated attack by members of ISWAP in Borno State. And on the same day, a court in Abuja sentenced Boko Haram members to death by hanging in Abuja. That was in Abuja. We will say that this is what we've always said, that when when some of these suspects are arrested, possibly give them the fair hearing, fast track the judicial process, and bring them to book. And I believe this would send a signal to others at this moment, because we are losing a lot when it comes to this insecurity.
First, my condolences to the military, the Nigerian army, as well as the Nigerian government, and to the families of the bereaved Army officer, Brigadier General Ibrahim, who lost his life in the course of fighting for the nation, and all other soldiers. They are heroes. But we should not be losing our heroes just like this. We should see them live to continue to contribute to the development of the country. Be that as it may, I want to say that my concern is why the frequency of this attack in recent times. We should begin to look at it. Why? What is behind it? And secondly, I think it behoves on the northern leaders to begin to ask questions. Do they want peace in that area? Do they want development in that area? Should that place continue to be a platform of war? Are they not looking for the future development of generations to come from that area? These are part of the non-connected measures that I think we should begin to look at, because the thing has continued to fester since the coming of this civilian republic. We have never had it so bad during the military era, but I did that as it is. I just believe that, like you rightly said, there must be punitive measure done to ensure that this thing there is consequence for the actions of these people. We should not be delayed for too long.
Well, because of our time, Matthew, in 1 minute or 30 seconds, your thoughts and what you have to say on this.
Looking at the circumstances under which this very senior officer lost his life, I think, to my own belief, there's a need for investigation and total overhauling of how the resources meant for this battle against insurgency is being utilized. Now, from the account that we got, he was actually trying to run away, and he entered one of the vehicles that was supposed to be used, that was
bulletproof vehicle,
and the vehicle refused to do that, and that brought to the front burner the issue of the way resources meant for this insurgency fight is being deployed in the recent time.
Well, that's the show this morning. I want to thank you, gentlemen of the press, for being on the show this morning, Mr. Dara Adebipe and Matthew Shomi. And we know that definitely you enjoyed every bit of the headline. If you enjoyed this week edition, join us again same time next week as we'll be treating another topic, headlines entirely. Till then, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. Bye for now.